Welcome back to 101 Sports. I'm now joined by resident NFL experts Joe DiRienzo and resident NFL owner, got the papers to prove it, Jackson Brodie. Guys, we are going to talk a little NFL right now, as we mentioned. It's been a great first half of the season. We have mid-season MVP to give out, though. Jackson, who was the best player from the first half of the 2011 NFL season?
Greg, it's obvious. You have to go with Green Bay Packer quarterback Aaron Rodgers. The Packers are 8-0, so that should tell you something right there. Easily the best offense in the league. And he's averaging a touchdown for just about a touchdown for every incomplete pass. Wow. Let's think about that. He had 5 incomplete passes on Sunday, and he had 4 touchdowns in their win against the Chargers.
Jackson, that's definitely hard to argue with. The guy's got 24 touchdowns to 3 picks. He's not making any mistakes. But a guy whose team is really taking advantage of him not making mistakes is Eli Manning. You're talking about a guy who's got injuries around him. Ahmad Bradshaw's been inconsistent with injuries. Hakeem Nicks, his #1 receiver, hasn't been there. Guy's only got 5 picks on the year, and all of them but one have come in their losses. So every time Eli performs, the Giants win. And no big brother Peyton there this year to overshadow his performance. He's been doing well. 4,000 yards the last 2 seasons, but less turnovers this year. That's what's getting the Giants the W's.
Definitely elite quarterback now.
Yeah, Eli's definitely not making any bonehead mistakes anymore, but teams around the NFL, they're definitely making up for it. We see some stupid decisions. Joe, what's your stupidest of the first half of the season?
I have a bone to pick with the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. And whoever put Juan Castillo as their defensive coordinator. Juan Castillo was the offensive line coach for the last couple years. The last time he coached a defense was Kingsville High School in 1989.
Is that a respected high school program?
I don't know. I don't follow high school football. Yeah. But here's the problem. They can't stop the run. They lose every time they can't stop the run. So why keep the wide 9 defense that keeps them with the defensive ends out of the run defense? It just doesn't work.
That makes sense. Now, my bone to pick is with the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't like it to begin with, and when this question came up, I had to choose it. Donovan McNabb, the fact that they brought him in and let him take that starting job, it was a waste of time. You got Christian Ponder, you got a lot of great pieces in Percy Harvin, Adrian Peterson, and whatnot, and you've got Donovan McNabb, as great as he was, he's washed up. You got him up there.
They traded for him. They had to try something. You're not going to just trade for the guy and then draft Ponder and scrap the
His career's been over for a while. I never liked the move.
It definitely seemed like the Vikings were trying to become a contender with McNabb, but they weren't able to. They're more of a pretender. But we've seen other teams try and crack that threshold of being a legit contender in the NFL. Jackson, who's your contender and pretender with 2 teams in mind, the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals?
49ers have got to be contenders. They've got a possible MVP in Frank Gore. Alex Smith is really finding himself. The team's off to their best start in years, so you have to put them in contenders. The Bengals, well, they have great pieces with Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, and that team's definitely going places in the future. They've got off, well, again, great start, easy schedule to begin the year. They've got a tough stretch coming up. I can see them really being 6-6.
You know what, Jackson, I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think the 49ers are my contender and the Bengals are the pretender based on mostly the competition they have to make the playoffs. The Niners have 7 wins. That's what it took the NFC West to get in the playoffs last year, and they've already got it in Week 9. And the Bengals, meanwhile, have to compete with the Steelers, the Ravens, both of which they still have to play twice this year, and they have to fight the AFC East for that wild card. So I don't see them beating any of those 5 teams, let alone making the playoffs. So like you said, weak schedule. They've got a good run defense, but that's about it. They're pretenders.
It's very true, but you know what? I'm throwing this out there. Both teams are contenders. Bengals only maybe need to win 4 more games, and they can make the playoffs. I believe in Andy Dalton. That defense is legit, but I do agree, Niners are for real.
They're going for it.
So are the Bengals. 2 teams from the AFC North
Greg.
going to make the playoffs on the wild card. It's time for us to step away once again, but when 101 returns, Christine will sit down with our soccer and hockey expert as they duke it out to prove which sport is better. Stay tuned for the fireworks.